You are listening to the voice of Kason Watson, singing the title track of his latest album, Lemonade. Kason is a rising singer-songwriter based in Atlanta, Georgia. We are excited to share his story with you, and we hope you enjoy this very special episode.
Home, it's all in my mind. You look so divine, no makeup on, just your best smile. You tell me you loved me, front porch in your bare feet, and I would offer you a glass of lemonade.
Hey, so welcome to GCA Hootworthy. We are stoked to have another Hootworthy story coming at you. This is going to be an alumni story. So please tell us your first name and when you graduated GCA.
My name is Kason, and I graduated GCA in 2015.
2015. Wow. So you've been out of the game for a little while.
Yeah.
Did you go to college? Have you been in a trade? You've been working? What did you do after GCA before we get into the story?
Yeah, so I actually I went to a 2-year ministerial college and did that for a little while. Now I'm actually working, kind of balancing part-time ministry and then doing a little bit of, what we're going to talk about with the music career stuff going on.
Right on. So you know what? Jump into it because we want to hear about it. This Hootworthy thing you recently released, this music album that you're talking about. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the basic idea of the album was, I don't know if anybody listening to this has ever seen 500 Days of Summer, but it's one of my favorite movies.
Seen it, love it. It's great.
Right? Great movie. I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the movie, there's this narrator who has this beautiful, deep voice, and he just says, this is a story, something to the effect of this is a story of boy meets girl, but it's not a love story. And I felt enamored by that. And so I thought, between that and some personal experiences and that kind of thing, I want to make an album that tells a story about love, but it's not a love story. So if you actually listen to the album from beginning to end, it tells a linear story of love.
Right on. But it's not an album about love, though. Exactly. Okay. So that's so cool. So who produced this, Kason?
So that's actually, well, you answered the question, actually. Who produced this? Kason.
Kason did.
Yeah, so it was a long, there's one song on the album called With You, which was produced by John Poole. He's a really great friend of mine, incredible producer. But after we finished that one, we kind of realized we were just thinking different things about the album. And so I decided to try to learn to produce myself. This was my first attempt at producing.
Right on.
I think the consensus seems to be it turned out pretty well. I did a lot of research. Charlie Puth has a production course, so I learned a lot from that guy, and he seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah. I guess he's done a few songs that did pretty well, I suppose.
He seems to be okay.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. So you produced it. That's pretty neat. And so who played the instruments, Kason? Was this a one-man show? Did you play everything? Sing everything? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when it comes to instrumentation, I sort of played everything. So I did, but not in the sense of, wow, Kason can play 50 million instruments. I can play guitar mostly, and then I have a little MIDI keyboard, which I can play the notes on there. And then whatever instrument I want it to be in my computer, it'll play those notes as if it's that instrument, even though I'm really just playing a piano. So they hear the drums and it's like a snare going, but that's actually me on a piano just going, but
wow. Okay.
Yeah. And even the there's a song called Passenger Seat that has a saxophone outro, and that is played on the piano.
Nice. Wow. Well, now your secret's out. I mean, this is kind of like the magician giving away his trick. Now we know, Kaysen. You heard it here, folks. Hootworthy. Just get a keyboard and a computer. You can play any instrument you want to. And so that's pretty neat. So you wrote all these songs. You did the what is that called? The arrangement. You did all that, and you did all the lyrics. This was all you.
So yes, but also no. Because not to get all like artist cliche or anything like that, but I don't ever believe that I just create the songs. I really believe that like songs just exist and different artists find them. Not to sound like a pretentious weirdo or anything.
No. We're getting deep. We're getting deep. I love it.
Yeah. When you get into like any art, like I don't think Van Gogh just like created Starry Night. I think it was partially him, and then he pulled it out of something. Like his art it's almost, art is like distorted photography. You're just showing the rest of the world the way you view the world. So to me, yes, I wrote the lyrics, but I only wrote them based on my experiences with life and other people. So there's so many people and so many experiences that contributed to the songs. I don't ever feel like I should just say, oh yeah, I did all of this, because I couldn't have done it without people that have been in my life. Even, you know, there's a reference on one of the songs to the Paper Kites, which is a band I really like. And if they didn't exist, then that wouldn't be there. If somebody hadn't introduced me to them, then that wouldn't be there. So yes, I wrote it, but it wouldn't exist in what it is without them, without the people that recommended me them. That's just one example. Like, what about even so Miss Blanda, who works for GCA, she was my teacher growing up. All the books she had to read and stuff like that. I wouldn't be the writer I am without the books that I read in GCA.
No, I love that. That's great. It's like you don't create the music, you discover the music.
Yes.
You know, so that makes sense. That's cool. So talking a little bit about the album and these sorts of things. So how many songs did you have on the album?
There are, so technically there's 10. I tell people there's 9.5.
Okay.
Because there's one song that's about a minute long, and it's just a reprise where basically I took a chorus from, it's called Wild Daisies Reprise, and there's a song earlier on the album called Wild Daisies. And since it kind of, like I said, the album tells a linear love story, basically I took this really happy, upbeat love song, and then I kind of changed the lyrics and made it super slow and sounds like it's going through an old radio.
Oh, cool.
And it's kind of sad. And it's like the chorus of that with the lyrics slightly different as a reprise. So it's kind of showing that almost de-evolution of the love, like how it has changed since that original song. So I don't count that as a full song. So I say there's 9.5.
I can respect that. I can understand that. That makes sense. And what would you call this music genre? If you had to give it a genre, what is this album?
Oh no, don't ask me that question. That's so tough.
Come on, you got to. You know, we are doing tough questions here on Hootworthy. Tough, hard hitting. Yes, very hard hitting.
Yeah, but so I generally say it's kind of an indie folk or singer-songwriter. To me, it's easier to compare it to other artists because it's kind of like the Paradise Valley era John Mayer.
That's so funny that you said John Mayer, because I didn't want to insult you or apply an artist that you wouldn't want, but I listened to a few songs and I was thinking in my head, this is totally John Mayer. And but you said it, so I didn't have to say it. That's what I thought.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, like I was like, this guy has John Mayer vibes. Case for sure.
I will take that all day. He's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, no, he is. And early John Mayer, though, I don't know if John Mayer's kind of changed. I haven't really followed him since, but I'm talking like early John Mayer for sure. I was
say early John Mayer.
Yeah.
How early, like late 90s or like the Waiting on the World to Change Slow Dancing? Because he's been around so long. Early is like
that's a good point. Yeah, no, the thing before or right around Heartbreak Warfare, I would say.
okay.
Like that kind of esque, you know. But like Body is a Wonderland, that was him, right?
Yes.
Like kind of around there. So this is cool. So I'm glad that I didn't peg you for the wrong artist here. And so how long did you work? How long did you work on the album, Kaysen?
Oh boy. The majority of the hard work was done over the past, or not the past, but the 6 to 8 months before the album was released, like the actual recording and that kind of thing. But the first song I wrote over 2 years before the album released in like August of 2018, and it just released October 8th of this year. I'm sorry, 2019. So it's been a long process because I'm a perfectionist to a fault, and if there's a song that I'm like, nah, I'm not absolutely in love with this, I'm not gonna put it out. So in order to get 10 songs that I loved enough to trust to put on the album, that took about 2 years.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because I'm one of those people that, like, if I go shopping, I'm trying on the shirt, and if I don't love the shirt, I'm not spending money on it. Like I just whatever it is, like you should love it.
Yeah. If it doesn't, what is that lady say? Spark joy. If it's not sparking joy, you're not wearing it. You're not doing it. The song's not sparking joy. So, how long have you been playing then, Kaysen? If this album took, 2 years, how long have you been playing instruments? How long have you been like writing music or lyrics? Have you always kind of been messing around with the lyrics and music stuff, or is that something you grew into? Did you start with the instruments first? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I didn't start formally writing songs until maybe 15 or 16, I guess, like sophomore year probably. Or maybe freshman year, somewhere around there. But I remember like probably 7 or 8 years old, Mother's Day, writing my mom a poem, and that was like my gift for her for Mother's Day. And I've just always, like, I used to write poetry when I was 9, and I thought I was little Mr. Sophisticated. I remember, I'm not trying to personally attack any of our students, but like middle school, I was that kid reading Edgar Allan Poe, and they taught me The Raven, and I was like, this is me. I am edgy. So that's you're probably going to grow out of it. I'm sorry, guy, like, or girl in middle school, you're probably going to grow out of your Edgar Allan Poe phase. Quote The Raven, you will be Edgar Allan Poe nevermore. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I probably wrote before I played instruments. And then when I was about 14, I was a big baseball guy. Like I played baseball my whole life.
Repping the Braves here on the.
Absolutely.
They just did something, right? Something pretty big, I hear.
May have won the biggest championship in baseball or something.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But so I played baseball my whole life pretty much until when I was about 14, I quit. And then since I ate, slept, and breathed baseball, since I wasn't doing it anymore, I had a ton of free time. And my brother, he actually used to play guitar, and he still does a little bit, but so we had guitars laying around, and it was really just kind of this seems, I might as well learn guitar. Like I have nothing better to do. And our youth group at church needed a bassist, and I was like, I'll just learn guitar and bass so I have a reason, because all my homeschooled peeps, or not homeschool anymore, GCA, I was homeschooled before I joined GCA, but everybody who does school at home knows if you can find an excuse to get out of the house, you take it. So
right.
I was like, man, if I learn bass and guitar, my brother and my mom will have to take me to church early so that I can practice with the band, and then I'll get more time out of the house.
There you go.
So I learned, that's why I learned guitar. I was about 14.
There you go. Well, you've gotten pretty good there since then. You hadn't been playing super long, and you're sitting here with an album produced.
Thank you. I try. I know this sounds corny since we're on the GCA podcast, but I kind of have to attribute that a little bit to GCA because I never had guitar lessons ever.
Wow.
But because I did GCA, I had learned, oh, I can just learn things online. And so I just went to YouTube and started learning guitar. Same way, we have, like, I dissected a virtual frog in 9th grade because like GCA taught me, like, all you need is self-discipline. You don't have somebody to guide your hand the whole time like you do maybe in a brick and mortar. So learning that self-discipline and learning to learn things online is actually what allowed me to learn guitar the way that I did.
That's awesome. No, being a self-starter, you kind of got to be able to do that when you're learning online, being self-directed. Well, that's pretty great. So changing direction a little bit here. Do you ever play live, Kaysen? Have you played any of these songs live, or is it all just on your album and YouTube?
So yeah, I gotta stop. I answer every question with so yeah, but
it's okay.
Yes, I do play live. I did actually a release show on the day the album released at Because Coffee in Dawsonville. If any of my GCA peeps are in Dawsonville,
Cool.
Doug, they have great coffee. It's a great place to do your schoolwork or something.
Cool.
Really cool place. I'm actually trying to branch out more. I want to play. My goal right now is Eddie's Attic in Atlanta before the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
But
so if Eddie is listening, if Eddie's listening, I don't even know if it's who Eddie is. So cool. You got plans here. So what are your other plans then? Are you working on another album, or you're trying to get this live thing going? What are your kind of future plans, Kaysen, with this thing, with this music?
Always
stuff?
working. There's always something. I mean, my friends get annoyed, honestly, because we'll be doing something and they'll send me a text, or maybe they'll just make a comment, and I'll be like, oh, that would make a good song. And I'll just start writing in the middle of the conversation.
There you go.
Like literally one of my friends the other day was complaining about like a romantic situation, and she said something and I was like, oh, I'm gonna write a song about that. Sorry.
There you go.
But it's just, so I'm always working. I am right now. I'm doing a little, it'll probably release early next year, but I'm doing a little 4 to 5 song acoustic EP based on, long story short, it's based on my grandpa and his life and the legacy that he left behind. Do a little very intimate, just me and an acoustic guitar kind of thing to kind of honor him and in memory of him. So that'll be coming early next year. I'm really excited about that one. It's going to be different. Not as much instrumentation, but I want to really let the songs kind of just show themselves and be very stripped back.
Yeah, that's awesome. And express yourself a bit. And that's great. So you're talking about doing these little things and a couple different projects you're working on. So what everybody wants to know as they've been listening, they're like, man, where can I go to hear this album? Where can people go to get in touch with you, follow you, kind of stay in touch with this music, this thing you're working on? It's coming out in January. What's the info they need, Kaysen?
Right. So I'm on all streaming services, all like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. You can just search Kaysen Watson, Casen Watson, like Sherlock Holmes. The album is called Lemonade.
Lemonade. Why didn't I ask that? I can't believe I didn't ask that. Lemonade. Yeah, it makes sense.
You got there. You didn't have to.
We did get there. Thank you.
So the album's called Lemonade, and I mainly use Instagram. That's my main social. Okay. And just at Kaysen P. Watson.
Kaysen P. Watson.
Here, I wrote it down so you can.
There you go. There it is. At Kaysen P. Watson. Yeah. There it is. Right on. Now we don't even need a graphic, Where did Lemonade come from? The name?
Okay, so that's actually like the most wholesome, weird story. Have you've seen Avengers Endgame probably, or you've heard of it?
Yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Right. So I was with this girl at the time, and it was about the time that movie came out, and we were talking about and this a friend girl.
Sure.
We were talking about that movie introduces this concept of like branch realities with time travel,
Yeah.
where somebody made a different decision. There's an entirely new reality.
Yeah.
And so we were walking outside of a shopping center one day, and this guy had a lemonade stand. And we're walking out, and this guy says, like, "Hey, son, if you buy her lemonade today, she'll marry you, and you'll be so happy." Right? And it was so corny, and we just laughed and walked on. But we had to joke from that point on, because it was right after we saw Avengers. And we were like, "Oh, there's a lemonade reality somewhere where I bought you lemonade and we got married."
Yep, there is. There is.
The running joke for us, and there's a song on the album called Lemonade, and it's all about like, in some other world, this is how things would be.
Oh, wow.
So that's where the album came from, that concept of, you know what, this is how things turned out, but they could have been different. This is made.
And that's so relevant, because a lot of people do think about that stuff, the what if and those sorts of things, kind of go down the rabbit hole of different decisions that we can make, butterfly effect sort of thing. But thanks for sharing your story with us. And this is an incredible testament to kind of GCA and alumni, and how, you were with us, and it kind of sparked this whole singer-songwriter thing. And here you are 5 or 6 years later, producing your own album. Very, very cool stuff, pursuing music. And so any shout outs you want to give before you head out, Kaysen?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as my stuff, go listen to it, stream all of it, please.
Yeah.
But like I said, Miss Blanda is a legend, and Mom, Michelle, leads all the stuff. She's a amazing human being.
Yeah, she works for us. What's her title? Do you know?
She's up there. I know she does all the family engagement stuff.
Yeah, taking care of the family engagement for us.
They've changed over the past few years she's worked there. They've changed the title so many times.
Yes.
I know it was like
it's true.
Yeah, I don't even know. They've changed it so many times.
It's true. Yes.
I can't keep track anymore. Plus, may not want people to know. She may.
Yeah. No, it's okay. We got note cards to keep track all the different acronyms. So thanks, Miss Blanda. Thanks, Mom. Who else? Who else you got for us?
I mean, I'm trying to think of. Are we talking GCA or just in general?
Anybody you want to shout out before you head out?
I would like to personally thank John Mayer for being great.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Shout out to you for having me here, for GCA for having me here. Great. You're doing a swell job.
Thank you.
I'm just thankful for you, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaysen. Well, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you giving us a hoot-worthy story to cover, Kaysen. And we can't wait to see your meteoric rise and playing live and selling all these albums. Y'all go listen to Kaysen's album Lemonade on any streaming service, YouTube. Hit him up on Instagram, Kaysen P. Watson. Thanks, Kaysen.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Think